Thoughts Makes. My name is Stephanie and it is the year 2026 and the middle of February. I have a feature to finish project for you today, and the way I usually do these videos is I start with a pattern rundown, talk about the details of the pattern, any information you can find prior to purchasing the pattern if it is a paid for pattern. And then I go into the process of me making that pattern and I talk about any modifications that I may have made. And then at the end, I usually go through some styling options. And oftentimes we are seeing the outfits together for the first time because I record the videos shortly after I finish the item. That way I still remember all of the details. If you are new here, I include closed captioning on all of my videos. You click on that CC button. If I speak faster or slower than your preferences, YouTube allows you to adjust the speed. Links to designers, makers, my project pages, all of that can be found in the description box below the video. And occasionally I include visual on the screen to either correct something that I may have said incorrectly or to just provide additional images for things that I might be talking about. Today we are highlighting the Metropolitan Pullover by designer Tori Yu. The Metropolitan Pullover by Tori Yu was published in September of 2024. It is meant to be knit with two yarns held together, a fingering weight yarn and a lace weight yarn. However, you can also use a DK weight yarn, or at this gauge of 16 stitches by 21 rows, you could probably do a worsted, even potentially a blown yarn that's like a bulky weight. You might have to play around to see what your fabric density will be like, but as long as you achieve the gauge in the pattern, you should be able to get the correct measurements for the finished garment. Now, of course, your fabric drape and how it wears might vary if you go off path from what the designer recommends. Needle sizes recommended are a US 10, which is a 6mm, US 8, which is a 5mm, and a US 6, which is a 4mm. Of course, use whatever needles that are going to work to get you the gauge for the pattern. Yardages are provided for every size in the pattern, and the sizes available are a finished circumference of 36 inches to 68 inches. The pattern recommended ease is 4 to 6 inches of positive ease. So there are 9 sizes available, and then you can just pick whatever ease you want based on your chest circumference and the finished garment circumference. Currently, there are over 240 projects available to browse through on RAVELRY. So if you're someone that likes to look for inspiration on color and yarn choice, and maybe just to get a better idea of how a garment might fit on a body like yours, I highly suggest going through the RAVELRY project pages if that is accessible to you to get an idea of what other people have made. There are 2 options for the sleeves. There is a non-tapered sleeve and a tapered sleeve. And then of course for the body length, you can knit it to whatever length you want, just knowing that if you knit it more cropped, you will use less yarn, and if you knit it longer, you will need more yarn. The Metropolitan Pullover is a top-down contiguous construction, so there's no seaming involved. The shoulder and neckline shaping are worked flat before you join in the round. And then you have these eyelet sleeve decreases. And the yoke is finished with some raglan increases before you split for the body and the sleeves. The body is knit to a cropped length or above high hip or about high hip length. But of course, like mentioned above, that can be adjusted as you prefer. The neckline at the end is picked up and knit to be a rolled edge. And the sleeves and the body hem are meant to have an I-cord finish. I found the instructions very clear, the pattern format very easy on the eyes to follow. There's negative space so the words aren't all jumbled together, and I feel like the order of operations in the pattern makes sense to me, and the flow of it just kind of goes with my style. Of course, to each their own. Some people prefer less words, some people prefer more words. I just really like Tori Yu's writing style, and I have knit several of her patterns and tested for her multiple times. The Metropolitan Pullover is one that I did test for her several years back, 2 or 3 years, I can't remember now, but I've actually knit now 3 of them. The first one is now in my daughter's closet. The second one I did knit for my daughter, so of course that's in her closet. And so now I don't have one, and I wanted one, and so I decided to cast on a third one. This one I did size up. For the first one that I knit, I chose size 1, which gives me 4 inches of positive ease. That's within the recommended ease range. This time I decided I wanted a little more of an oversized fit that I could throw over anything, so I went with size 2, which is a 40-inch finished circumference, which gives me 8 inches of positive ease, which is above the recommended amount of ease, but it is what I was looking for, and so that is what I did. So this is probably a good time to go into my process and my modifications. All right, so for my Metropolitan Pullover, I had decided from the beginning that I wanted to do a couple of things different just to play around. So first off, I chose a size 1 bigger than the previous one so that I finished with 8 inches of positive ease at the chest circumference. The second thing that I changed was my yarn. So I paired together the Patton's Classic Wool Worsted yarn, which comes at 194 yards for 100 grams, and that I purchased for, I think, $5 for 100 grams. And this is the color I used. It's called Natural Mix. It's a heathered warm gray. And I used just under 400 grams of this yarn, so that cost me about $20. I held this with Pearl Soho's Tussock, which is 60% superfine kid mohair and 40% silk. And this colorway is Silver Needle. It's a very cool light gray. This comes at 328 yards for 25 grams. I believe I purchased this in maybe 2023, I can't remember, and I bought this on sale for $14 for 25 grams, and I used 56 grams total. So I had to wind 3 hanks of it, so that's $42 total. I should not be doing math while I'm recording. I think it's $42 total for the mohair, and I have about 20 grams left that I can use in another project. I think I forgot to mention that Patton's Classic Wool Worsted is a 100% non-superwash, pure new wool. I'm going to hold the 2 yarns up together so you can see their contrast. And then you can see the sleeve of my sweater, how it knit up. I love the subtle marling, like it's still kind of high contrast, but because the 2 colors are neutrals, it doesn't come across as super busy, and I just really like the visual effect that it gives. For the body of my sweater, I did knit it much longer, so it's maybe 5 inches past the top of my hip. I just knit it way longer because that's what I wanted, and I added a high-low hem. I've talked about this on previous projects before. I feel like if I knit something that is more oversized, I don't want it to come out tenting on my body, and so if I add 1 to 2 inches in the back by doing like a crescent, basically, using German short rows, I can allow that fabric to hang a little nicer and not tent out. Later, when I turn the camera vertically, I will be able to better show you how that high-low hem looks. I didn't bring a step stool over right now, so I can't really get to that point to show you, but I will show you later. So I created a high-low hem in the back, and that allows it to drape really nicely. I think I added about maybe 2 inches to the back. And then for my finishings, I did those differently. So my finishings actually look more like Tori's Avenue collection, where there's a short amount of 1x1 ribbing and then a knitwise bind off. And I really like how that looks. And so that's what I did. I just wanted to do something different. I didn't feel like knitting an I-cord bind off, so I didn't do an I-cord bind off. So this is kind of a combination between the Avenue finishings and the Metropolitan Pullover, both wonderful patterns by Tori Yu. For my sleeves, I did 1 extra decrease round of repeats because I wanted longer sleeves. I like my sleeves to be extra long. I find it more comfortable that way, and I find that sleeves tend to like to ride up over time, just how the fabric wears, and I just don't want my sleeves to end up too short because I can always roll them up if they are too long, but when they get to be too short, I can reblock it to the right length, but slowly it just kind of creeps back up again. So I would just rather have them a little bit on the longer side. Now, I think that's all of the modifications on the garment itself. I want to share with you the super exciting thing that I was going to fall out of my chair about, and that is duplicate stitching. So in January, I received a lovely New Year's gift from Pearl Soho that was their new paintbrush mohair yarn. It is a bulky weight mohair with a cotton core, and it was just so delightful to receive that gift, and I just got this idea. All right, let me show you the colorway they sent me, and this is sky blue. So it is so fluffy, and I think you should be able to see that white cotton core, and you can see how fluffy it is with this white core. Now, because I held my yarn for my main fabric with a lighter mohair, I felt like this white cotton core showing through would just kind of really blend in with the rest of the fabric and not stick out too much. If that bothers you, I maybe wouldn't choose this one. All the colors come with that white cotton core, so it is visible. I like the look of it. I think it's kind of fun. It definitely doesn't blend in, but if you like that contrasting look, this might be for you. Or just pick the colors that are all lighter, and then that white cotton core won't stick out so much. So I got this great idea. I was gonna jump on my seat. I requested a few more colors of paintbrush mohair because I just couldn't get this idea out of my head. So I received more colors as yarn support for my creative process, and I'm so excited to show you. So I'm going to show you a few of them here. They are housed in a bag that I sewed up, I think a couple of years ago. I love this bag so much. I bought this fabric from Knit and Bolt, which is a fabric and yarn store in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I just love this fabric. I put a denim boxed bottom on it, and the drawstring channel I think is a Kaufman linen cotton remnant, and then the inside is just like a white fabric. And you might see the other colors. I think I've played this up so much that I hope it's not going to be a letdown. So here are the colors that I am playing with. This beautiful saturated Kelly green is called Lawn Green. And then this beautiful Cobalt Royal Blue as Azure Sea. And then this neon pink is Super Pink. And then I showed you the light blue, which is Sky Blue. I love these four colors together. This yarn is so light and fluffy. It is 75% kid mohair, 25% Peruvian Pima cotton, that's the core. It's listed as worsted Aran to chunky bulky weight, depending on how you plan on knitting it. 120 yards for 50 grams. And the recommended gauge is 13 to 17 stitches for 4 inches using US size needles of 7 to 10.5 or 4.5 to 6.5 millimeter needles. It is a hand wash yarn made in Peru, and it is just lovely. Now, I just finished this garment. I have not worn this mohair next to skin or like on sensitive areas, and so I can't really assess how the itch factor is for that. And for those who are extremely sensitive, maybe it doesn't matter how fine or bulky the mohair is. I mean, it might just itch anyway. Right now, putting it up to my neck, I don't feel anything itchy. It feels very soft and fluffy, but again, everybody's sensitivities are different. So with scrap yarn, I free-handed areas that I wanted to duplicate stitch. So I just did kind of a big, quick basting stitch. And then I would cut maybe like a wingspan of the yarn to work with at a time. That way it wouldn't get too tangly, but I also wouldn't run out super fast. And so then I just started duplicate stitching. The first one I did was this light blue flower over here. I just wanted to see how it would turn out, see how the fabric would wear. Would it be too dense? Would it pull all the fabric weird? And it didn't do any of that. It's so light and fluffy and gives it a beautiful textural element, but also this visual fluffiness. And it kind of reminds me of little kid board books where there's those puffy parts that you can touch. And I just love it. It just brings me so much joy, and the color is so exciting and just gives off these little like doses of dopamine going choo, 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 choo. And I hope you're getting it across the screen here. So after I did this flower here, I'm going to back up and see if you can see the other one. Actually, let me go grab the step stool. All right, so I've turned you vertically. I grabbed a step stool. We'll see if this works. I don't actually have a viewfinder to look at, so I have no idea what's in frame until I load it on the computer. So hopefully this works. Here is the next one I did. I was inspired by Marimekko, which is a Finnish fabric textiles company, and they have large, bold graphic prints that I've always loved. Lots and lots of floral, punchy colors, and so that was my inspiration. So I did this giant flower here with a neon pink center and then some cobalt blue and then the beautiful bright Kelly green. I'll show you what the inside looks like. It's all just duplicate stitching. Some areas I did 1 stitch, some areas I did 2, some areas I did 3. On these bigger sections, I mostly did 2 or 3 stitches at a time, which means it's like elongated. I'm gonna come closer, maybe you can see that better. So it's over 2 stitches, 2 rows of stitches. So much fun. The entire garment has been blocked already, and then I went in and did the duplicate stitching just to make sure all my stitches had evened out in tension. And then after I did the duplicate stitching with the mohair, I just steam blocked that part. I didn't really feel like wet blocking the entire thing again. But also now that I'm on a step stool and I've turned it vertically, maybe you can see the high-low hem a little bit better, assuming I'm all in frame here. Here on the side, it's about 2 inches longer in the back than the front. And basically I work it over about 2/3 of the stitches. So just put in a marker for the center back and then go back and forth from the farthest first and then maybe like, I think 5 stitches in on each side for a few times. And I think I did 8 rows of short rows. I think, something like that. I just did it until it felt right. And then I knit around to resolve all the duplicate stitches. And then the third one I did is this blue section over the shoulder. I decided to go for these blue petals, and then I did the center neon pink again. I think that's all I'm going to duplicate stitch on this garment, but I have another garment that I am going to duplicate stitch, so that I will share in a future video. I'm so excited about that one. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing yet because that may change. All right, we are on the styling portion of the video, and the first one you'll see in here is with dark wash, wide leg, high rise denim jeans. I'm not sure how I feel about wearing this one slightly tucked, just because there's so much fabric that it ends up kind of poofing in a funny mushroom shape. So maybe not that. I think I would just wear it open, or not open, untucked. I think this is a very easy one to throw on and just wear over like a white t-shirt or something, and away I go. So, next outfit. All right, here I have on a very bright limey neon yellow tiered gathered skirt that I sewed last summer. This one has pockets and it is a self-drafted skirt. There are lots of patterns out there for tiered gathered skirts. I really like this. I think it's fun. It's whimsical. This one I think I could do a front tuck if I wanted to. I feel like even though the drape is going to be the same as wearing it with the jeans, I feel like it just kind of goes better on this skirt. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that. I feel like maybe the silhouette just lends itself a little bit better to tucking in the front on this than it does on the jeans, but I really like the color combination here. I think it's so much fun. Oh, I forgot to mention my earrings. These are by an enamel jeweler and made in Minnesota. I love her jewelry. I have several pieces by her. They are so much fun and bright, and I think her tagline is "Life's too short to wear boring earrings." I love these earrings with this. I feel like the Kelly green goes with the Kelly green and the flower. So on to the next one. If you've been here for some time, you know I love these neon green pants. Oh, you know what? I probably should have been standing on the step stool now that I think about it, because maybe you can't see the full outfit. One second. Here we go. I'm not sure if my head's in frame now, but maybe you can see the pants better. These are 100% linen pants. They are the June pants by Helen's Closet, a Canadian company that I love. The patterns are well written. They have several different views. I have made probably a dozen versions of these June pants, which also have a shorts option. So I like the sweater with the linen pants. I feel like this is perfect for spring. I might have a tank top on underneath. It might still be really chilly in the morning, but by afternoon, the sun's out, it heats up. I might not want the sweater anymore, so I'll have a t-shirt or tank top underneath. But with the linen pants, I feel like these colors go really well together. I'm loving it. I have one more outfit to share with you. Oh, that's where my hair tie went. It went missing for a little while. This is my Lawrence dress, another pattern by Helen's Closet. It has a V-neck in the front. It is sleeveless. I sewed mine out of 100% linen fabric. I did 3 different colors. There's a white on top, a flax tier, and a beautiful sky blue bottom layer. I feel like this dress also works great with this sweater. I wouldn't wear this dress in the winter, but I could, again, layer it for the upcoming spring. I feel like these colors are very bright and cheerful. I love how they play together with the neutral, but also the pops of color. Both items have neutrals with a color, and I just love how they play together. So yeah, I'm very pleased with this garment. So happy with how it fits and how it wears and how it pairs with things that I already have. I hope this video gave you some ideas of how to make a garment your own. I hope it demystified any questions you might have had about the Metropolitan Pullover by Tori Yu. And I really hope that you got that pew, 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 pew of the dopamine that I was receiving in making this garment and that I just really wanted to share with you. I love playing with color. I love neons and neutrals. I just get so much enjoyment out of making an idea come to life, and this garment really did that for me. And I hope it did it for you too. So cheers to being creative, and I will talk to you next time.